Welcome to the Shakuhachi Summer Camp of the Rockies, number 25. Today we're working on Yûgao, using the Jiuta Yûgao as a platform to study how melody and phrase work in this music and how the shakuhachi can have more fun doing it. And of course, I've already mentioned how there's a literary background, backing, underpinnings to what this music is about. But I haven't really looked at the mayuta or the atuta, the two vocal sections of Yûgao yet. So I'd like to show a little bit of that to you before we start into the music itself. First of all, I'd like to go back to a quick look at information from Christopher Yome Blaisdell's book about the lyrics and notations, and with notations about the lyrics as well as the lyrics that's coming out next year. And having this backing information is invaluable. So I encourage you to make sure you learn as much as you can about the pieces you study or the pieces you perform. So Yûgao is this, and that would be probably on the marquee, or that would be on the trailer for the movie Yûgao, I think, that picture right there. This is about the Yûgao chapter in the Tale of Genji. The term Yûgao could simply mean evening faces as a literal translation of the two characters, but it's actually the name of a character in the Tale of Genji. And the author, Murasaki Shikubu, or Lady Murasaki, author of the Tale of Genji, played around with this a lot. And Yûgao actually is a flower. In English it could be called the moonflower, but it's the flower that becomes the connection between Genji and this woman, Yûgao. So it's kind of like the lady that lived where the moonflowers were. All this stuff Japanese already knows, so they don't have to worry about getting a deep backing in it, but a lot of non-Japanese don't, and that's why I think Christopher Yome Blaisdell's book is going to be valuable. And in this part of the first, well, in Yûgao, it's pretty simply separated. First of all, starts right here, opening up with the information about Genji traveling to this sort of a town in the outskirts of Kyoto, where he happens upon an interesting little place and finds Lady Yûgao. But for about 4 lines of music, it's pretty continuous, just playing. Tiny little interludes, bridging gaps between lyrics. And these lyrics that you see written between the lines of music, like that, are generally the characters for the syllables appear generally where the vocalist will be singing them, but not specifically. On the other hand, it's specific. It's close enough that you can see this gap here after this character. It tells you that there's an interlude happening, a short break in the song for just the instruments to bridge over to where singing starts here. And then the biggest interlude is right here. Comes up to a little bit of a juncture point in the song, and then the second half of the mayuta is introduced with this pretty long interlude that goes up to right here. Essentially, well, the majority of the 6th line of shakuhachi notation. So those are the kind of things to pay attention when you're playing. Are we playing with song, or are we playing with just the shamisen in an ensemble situation? So Yoko, let's play the first half of the mayuta. It's so great to have someone like Yoko Hiraoka here that is doing all this stuff for everyone at Shakuhachi Camp. sorry to interrupt you guys. Let's do that again. The Shogun Shio. 後でこれ編集されるから。We're just tuning up, and in the break, my shakuhachi must have changed or something. Okay, so. Okay, so we'll play the first half of the Mayuta of Yûgao. So just up to there, right before the beginning of this ainote, this extended instrumental interlude within the Mayuta. Extended in terms of long for a vocal section. There were a few shorter ainotes within this section, but that's the big one. And then, so just being aware of how not just the shamisen and the shakuhachi are interacting with each other, but what's going on with the voice. And believe me, when you practice this, and especially when you practice it with a recording, or you have the luxury of practicing it with a live musician, you more and more become aware of the importance of how you phrase and how you respond to what the shamisen is doing. If you look at the second line, there's an ainote after the first lyric comes in. Well, there's just a tiny little bridge here that's almost not even an ainote. Sumigatai tuite amin. I wonder who's living there. Why don't we ask? And then we have this ainote here. But anyway, let's listen. I'll play this first bit for you, and listen to just a tiny little bridge, Shakuhachi bridge, in the first line between I wonder who lives here, let's ask. There is, she's just sustaining that syllable, sumuyatare re. Tare or dare means who. And she takes that re, the a at the end of re, and extends it over 4, 5, 6 beats. And listen to this again. Was just that one syllable, just sustained. And that's the kind of thing. And so that haro, hararo is all happening while the singer is just sustaining the re, the e of re. And let's move on from right there. We'll continue from right there. Sorry. Go ahead. Longer ainote. So we'll back up just a few notes and come into this and be aware of how that happens. So we're going to come in right here. She's going to be singing this. Tasogare is the tasogare ni. Inquiring is what's happening here, but she'll come in right with the tasogare right there. She starts singing again. And so that little sort of going into the higher register and bringing some intensity is something you can do because the shamisen and the shakuhachi aren't stepping on the singer. The singer is not singing there. So the shamisen and the shakuhachi can step out and show up more in the melody. Let's go from the same place. Tasogarete. Right. We'll back up to the farther up this line. key change. And that's why when that Tsuno Chu Medi comes up, you'll experience the melody, really the feeling in the melody changing there again. But I wanted to emphasize in the Mayuta, in this part we played, how these high register intense parts usually are separated from song until the song gets into the high register, and then the song is going to come up and join us, and then we're all in the high register, and then it starts to open up and flow. Now let's jump to the second half of the Mayuta, and here's an extended interlude that you all could play along with if you like. Well, of course you could play along whenever you like. So let's do that. Let's play this ainote that's right in the middle of the Mayuta that kind of separates the first half and the second half of the Mayuta. And then we'll go all the way to the end of the Mayuta. Well, we'll go to towards the end of this page, which is essentially the end of the Mayuta. Okay, let's go from right where that, I want to say right where that ainote starts, but let's go from right there, right where the ainote starts. Like that. And one thing before we move on to the Atouta, which I'd like to point out to you, is these places where you have vertical lines in the notation written next to the shakuhachi part. Like there's one down here at the bottom of line 4. That's telling you that the lead string instrument, which in this case is the shamisen, will not be playing anything. And it's basically telling the shakuhachi player to just relax and play your part. Don't get worried because you don't hear a shamisen coming. And because it's the person that wrote this notation was noticing that shakuhachi players would often not hear the shamisen they're listening to and think, uh-oh, I better stop. And then they'll stop and not continue, and things will get forgotten. So for example, there's a nice one at the bottom of line 9. And this is Honobono to. Honobono. After she sings, there's an ainote right here. At the beginning of that ainote, the shakuhachi plays a long lead in. So I'll have Yoko play from right here, Honobono to, where the tsuno medi tuning goes to a tsuno chu medi tuning. if you're just aware of those, then you have that much more fun playing them. Okay, so now let's go to the alto Yûgao. Okay, here are the things. So this is the part where this love affair starts to have problems, not between the lovers, but there's jealousy involved. And jealousy at the time was like an evil wind that would descend upon the target of that jealousy. And that leads to the point of actually Lady Yûgao dying in Genji's arms from some evil wind, a cold wind. But in the middle of this quite short part, there's a quite long ainote, and an aspect of the beginning of this ainote is the key change that comes into it. So right before that ainote, nen no yume no, kari ne no yume. We won't do the whole thing, but I would like to just we're going to go from right here. So. Okay, go right there. So we'll go from right here at the bottom of this line, and then the ainote starts at the top of the next line where you get this re no medi, and you'll hear the key change, but if you're aware of it, it makes the playing of the music that much more fun. So, okay, Yoko? Like that. And that's how it ends. But so that key change at the top of this line right here, where you see that re no medi and tsuno chu medi show up, only lasts for just this far, and then we go back into the scale that's using tsuno medi, not tsuno chu medi, where tsuno medi is going to ro. It's a ro tuning. And the final thing I wanted to talk about today is the very end of the song. It's a really easy way to always finish Jiuta effectively, is to be understanding of the cadence, the way these sections end. The way these sections end is that the shamisen will play a rising note. In this case, it's going to be the ha of ha raro at the very end, like that, and that's where we play ha. And then we play the raro exactly where the shamisen has their what's called a suri, and it sounds like this, like that. And that's where raro comes in, and we sustain, and then they pluck their last note. Sorry. We'll do it again. So at the very ending of the piece, we have ha raro, and that's part of a standard cadence pattern for the ending of a piece. The shamisen will play a similar exact melody as the ha, which is, in the shamisen is called a suri. They'll slide up. And then when we play it raro, we aim our raro to land on their suri, like that. So it's like this. Let's go from a little before. Wherever is good. Yoko will do it. Let's go from it a little bit, right? we'll go from a little. ちょっと待ってください。
はい。
We'll go from a little bit earlier in the piece, so you can hear how we're coming up to the ending, and then pay attention to how the hararo interacts with the shamisen. So let's go from.
弱の high notes or
Guess. That's good. Yeah. So. So we'll go from halfway down that last line. You'll hear it when we come in from right. Eiji. I.
ちょっと前。
あ、もう、そこまで行ったんです。
ここからしますか。
はい、ここはですか。弱。
弱い。
僕から入りますね。わかりました。
ここからさして。
だからムーを歌わないで、そこだけ弾いてくれ。Okay,じゃあそこやりましょうね。So we'll go from halfway down the last line of the Shakuhachi notation where it says re, chi, hi. That's where we'll start, right here. So it's simply is what we play, and the shamisen, when they play with us, sounds like this. And this time, well, let's do it with the song as well. Just the very end. So Yoko will come in and I'll just play the very end. まあ、ような感じでどうぞ。どうぞ。So the vocals end first, and then the shakuhachi and the shamisen conclude in that extended way. And that is how we'll conclude this discussion of the shakuhachi playing in the vocal sections of Yûgao.